Hey, it's Dave Brown here, host of Now with Dave Brown on AMI. Check out this latest highlight from the show. You've heard this before. There's a new social media platform that some people think can replace Twitter. I feel some sense of deja vu. Remember all those conversations about Mastodon last fall? Well, this one is called Blue Sky. It sounds a little less intimidating. Let's find out more about Blue Sky with Shaun, one of the co-hosts of Double Tap. And of course, you know you can find that show daily on AMI Audio. And you can find Shaun in Manchester, England. Hello, Shaun.
Hello, Dave. How dare you cast, what's the word, dispersions on this new social media platform. This time, it's real. This is going to be it.
This time, it's going to be the one. This is going to be the Twitter replacement. People are just flocking to it. Okay, Shaun, so why is this either the same or different than Twitter? Why is this considered the alternative?
Well, the thing is, as you said, it seems like every day we get another social media platform, you know, Truth Social, Hive, or whatever. Mastodon has been really popular lately. And the truth is that this one, Blue Sky, has got a lot of interest. Firstly, it's been around actually since 2019. It was created by Jack Dorsey, Jack Dorsey from Twitter, the former CEO of Twitter. And it was created whilst he was at Twitter. And the point of it was to create and this is the word of the day, decentralized social media platform. All that basically means that it's not held in one place and it's not controlled by one person. What they wanted to do is create a social media platform that anyone could access, anyone could create an app for, anyone could really host the information on their own computers. It wasn't just in one place controlled by one company or person. And that's a really good target to aim for, right? Especially when they created it at the time they were running Twitter. Yeah. Now, as we all know, Twitter has changed under new management, and Blue Sky has finally, since, as I said, it was created in 2019, as of last week, it's open for public beta. Now, it's been invite only up until now. So there's been about 2,000, 3,000 users on it. But last week it opened up. So I think currently there's 50, 60,000 beta testers on there. And there's a lot of buzz about it being, this is how Twitter used to be. Yeah. This is how it should have been and how it should be right now. And people are excited by it.
Shaun, it's my understanding, though, that if you or I wanted to, we couldn't join Blue Sky today. We would still need to be invited to join that beta.
Well, no, you can sign up now, and they are working through the opening up the beta release. You are absolutely right. Before last week, it was invite only. So the likes of you and me, Dave, absolutely not. They wouldn't invite us on.
But that's kind of what I'm getting at, though, because there's still a gatekeeping process here, right? Like when you and I joined Twitter, however many moons ago that was, we were just able to punch in our email address and a username and a password, and boom, away we went. Even this is obviously, again, still in beta phase, so it's not like it's necessarily all the way fully launched, fully released, but there is still some gatekeeping going on about the people they want in on the platform.
Absolutely, and to some degree, I can accept that. In they want feedback from maybe people like early adopters, people who love and live on social media. They want feedback of some of the features that it's missing or lacking, and some of the features that it does have. But at the minute, it does seem very much. It will open up, basically, to answer your question. It will open up to everyone eventually. But right now, the reason there's so much buzz, apart from the slightly larger opening of that gate to let more people in right now. By the way, if you go to bsky, that's bsky.app, bsky.app website, you can sign up there. People are just looking at it in sort of rose-tinted spectacles. It's very nostalgic about it, because it's so much like Twitter in the early days. It's very basic, but you've got retweets and I don't even know what they call it. They got their different names for it, but you got likes and everything like that. It is 256 characters, and people are very excited by that. And that does seem a little bit strange to me, because the fact of the matter is, we've seen these social media platforms open up before, and everyone loves it it's a bit like when you like a band before they're famous, and then as soon as they're famous, oh, everyone likes them now, I don't like them anymore. As soon as everyone gets onto a social media platform, they bring with it the problem of having so many people, so many different personalities, and, you know, that sort of trying to mediate and control content. So right now, everyone's saying this is great. It's such a nice place to. Of course it is. Hardly anyone's using it.
Yeah, you haven't let the riffraff like Shaun, Preece, and Dave Brown in.
Yes, exactly. As soon as we come in, there it goes. Everything goes wrong.
It's like whenever we walk into a party, the music stops, and they're like, you know what? I think it's time to wrap this thing up. Yeah,
exactly.
But Shaun, along those lines, I was listening to a couple journalists from the New York Times talk about this last night, and they were talking about those rose-tinted glasses you were talking about. Oh, this is so wonderful. It's just other journalists in here and reasonable, nice people, and it's so friendly, and we've all left our bags behind. And by the way, I'm someone who appreciates positivity and optimism. I work really hard to manifest it in my life, and some days it's a struggle to really make that work. But as I heard them talking about it, I had this sort of reaction of like, okay, that sounds all well and good, but it also makes them sound like such pompous elites when they talk about it that way, saying, oh, it's so pleasant in here just hanging out with other journalisms, people who care about journalism and journalists here and being kind. This is lovely. I'm like,
people like me.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Like that's it.
Yeah,
I like being around my own fellow elites, and I think about like that disconnect that creates with like the average human being.
Well, that is another argument for this decentralized platform. And actually, people are saying, you know what is wrong with having so many different social media platforms out there? Because, you know, the big players, Facebook and your Twitters, that's fine. But is there anything wrong with us sort of splitting off into our own communities like that? You know, is there anything wrong if there was a social media platform that was for blind or visually impaired people, for example? Now, the argument is, you know, it's the whole, well, you're just in an echo chamber. Yeah, are you going to be challenged on your, is it really, does it get you anywhere if you just talk to people with the same opinions as yourself? So that's actually something that's come up recently with the release of this Blue Sky and opening up, that actually maybe having many different social media platforms is fine. But the thing is, if you want to talk to friends or whatever, if they're split across, you know, several different platforms, it gets tricky. So that's actually, again, going back to the creation of Blue Sky, the point was that you could, for example, tweet, or I think in Blue Sky they call it skeet, you know, from any app, exactly, from any app. So, you know, it's meant to be more accessible, and not just from the, you know, disabled point of view, but more accessible is that you could access it from anywhere and any app, which I actually think is a good thing. So usually social media just, okay, whatever, we'll see what happens. It'll either fail or not, but this one actually does sound quite interesting, so we will see.
Is it really called a skeet?
It is, yes.
Oh my gosh,
apparently, unless my voiceover is reading it wrong.
No, that is rife for trouble. Good to know that Lil Jon and the East Side Boy is still living alive here 20 years after Get Low came out. Shaun, you know, you've said so many interesting things here. Can I pick up on this decentralization thought for a moment? Because this idea that no one as an individual necessarily runs the platform really speaks to what I would call a desired agnosticism that's come up in big tech in the post-2016 world around Facebook and the US election and around Brexit. And then similarly, that has come up in Twitter as well, with Elon sort of moving in there. But even Twitter was working hard with algorithms and censorship. Here's the thing about decentralization, to me, as a concept. Behind paywalls or invite only, or with some gatekeeping at the front end, I understand where decentralization works. But the fact is, these platforms always have this desired agnosticism, but it's really hard to actually be agnostic because people have bad intentions, whether they figure out their own algorithms, or they figure out their own AI chatbots, or they figure out how to create clones or other bots. Like, there's always going to be something that exists here that doesn't allow a truly decentralized application or platform to really work.
No, I agree. I think the whole decentralized concept has got some work to do. I'm not entirely convinced by it myself. For example, if you say, let's take Mastodon, for example, there's 1,000 different servers that you can sign up to, but each one of those servers has their own server master. And, you know, you could go from having one Elon Musk to having 1,000 Elon Musk. Now, they have total control over... Yes, what I thought. They have total control over what is allowed on there, what is, you know, what they deem to be unacceptable. And it just always comes down to the content control. What is censorship? What is free speech? What is a step too far? It's such a difficult question. I'm not sure we'll ever... I don't know how people can solve that. And yeah, from the technical point of view, decentralization is more allowing more access from different areas and this information being spread across and not just held in one place. But from a, as you say, agnostic point of view and actual the user's end point of view, I'm not entirely sure what difference it makes and if it is better than having one controller overseeing it all. It's a tricky question, Dave.
Shaun, one last question for you. I know I've kept you a little bit extra time today, and I know you guys have to get ready for the show at noon, so I don't want to be an overly bother here, but this conversation that we're hearing about Twitter alternatives, it strikes me as a little bit bizarre because it really feels like in the last 5 or 6 years, other than TikTok, social media has really crystallized that the main platforms we have are here. It's not like the days of MySpace and Napster and LimeWire kind of coming and going, up and down, up and down. You know, we had the rise and fall of Tumblr at the last part of in the early part of the last decade. So there have been other places that exist, and really other than TikTok, it feels like in the last 6 years, there's nothing that's really like truly emerged as a monolith. So I actually wonder if there's actually never going to be a replacement for Twitter. What is Twitter will just continue to exist as it is, with the food fight in the basement and the library on the top floor. And then people who are looking for some other stuff have already found Reddit, or they've already found YouTube, or they're spending more time on TikTok or Instagram, or take your pick, right? I wonder if there's ever actually going to be anything that actually exists as a Twitter substitute or alternative.
Well, that's what is going to be the final straw, which leads to the mass exodus from Twitter. Right? I don't know what that is, and it's different for every person. I think it does come down to, you know, you stick with a community, and as you said, it's very much fully formed by now. These platforms are mature. These communities are set up there. And shifting away from something like that is difficult, especially when we're talking about brands and companies and things like that. But not just that, when we're talking about our sort of community as well. So, yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think people are searching for the next big thing, but unless it offers something unique or something truly cool, I don't know if that's going to come. But at the same time, you know, MySpace was massive at one point, and that's gone away, so you never know.
I just miss Napster. Shaun, I always delight in chatting with you. Thank you for taking a bit of extra time today and laying this out with me.
No problem. It was a pleasure. Thank you, Dave.
That is Shaun Preece. He's one of the hosts of Double Tap Daily, which you can find noon Eastern time on AMI Audio. Do you want to dive into more conversations like this? Watch Now with Dave Brown weekdays at 9 a.m. Eastern on AMI.TV or download the podcasts wherever you listen. Do you want to dive into more conversations like this? Watch Now with Dave Brown weekdays at 9 a.m. Eastern on AMI.TV or download the podcasts wherever you listen.